I'm Evelyn Parker, and this is my family's story. We live in Columbus, Ohio. My husband David, our children Michael and Clara, and me. Life wasn't always easy for us. We faced tough times when financial struggles and stress started to pull us apart. Michael got into trouble with the law after a mistake, and it felt like our family was breaking under the weight of fear and silence. But we didn't give up. We found help through therapy and support from our community. My mother, Gloria, came to stay with us, bringing strength and comfort when we needed it most. When we faced losing our home, neighbors and friends rallied around us, showing what it means to care. I even started a community center to help other families going through hardship, turning my pain into a way to give back. Michael and Clara grew through their challenges. Michael dedicated himself to helping others, and Clara found her voice through art. Our journey wasn't perfect, but through love, courage, and leaning on each other, we found hope and healing. We discovered that family is more than a house. It's the bond we build with understanding and resilience every day. Before I dive into this story, drop a comment letting me know where you are watching from. Hit that like button and subscribe if you want more stories about finding strength when you need it most. Evelyn Parker had always been the graceful center of her family's universe, a woman who carried the warmth of 1,000 summer afternoons in her smile. They lived in a modest 2-story house in Columbus, Ohio, a home filled with the laughter of her 2 children, a boy named Michael, aged 16, and his younger sister, Clara, who was 13. Life wasn't always easy for us. David was the backbone of their small world, a carpenter with skilled hands and a sometimes distant demeanor. Evelyn's days were a delicate balancing act between her job as a school librarian and the countless roles she took on as mother, wife, and the silent keeper of secrets. But beneath the surface, life had started to shift in ways she couldn't quite control. The trouble began one chilled October evening. Evelyn returned home to find the house oddly quiet. David was usually waiting with a tired smile, but this evening he was missing. Their son was holed up in his room, headphones on, eyes glued to the screen. Clara was unusually restless, darting between the living room and kitchen, her small hands clutching something under her jacket. In that stillness, Evelyn felt a cold prickling at her spine, the sense that something unsaid was growing between them all. As the days passed, the quiet grew heavier, wrapping around her like a thick fog. The family dinners became tense, conversations fragmented, and smiles forced. Evelyn knew her family was fracturing, and she feared that if she didn't act, the fractures could become permanent. The next week, Evelyn woke early and made coffee, hoping the ritual might bring some normalcy back to their fractured home. As she moved through the kitchen, Clara approached hesitantly, her eyes red-rimmed. "Mom, can I talk to you?" Clara's voice was barely above a whisper. Evelyn nodded, heart tightening. They sat at the kitchen table, the morning light casting long shadows. Clara unfolded her jacket, revealing a worn notebook filled with scribbled poems and drawings, chaotic expressions of pain and confusion. She confessed, "I'm scared about school. And David, Dad hasn't been the same, and sometimes he yells. At me, at Michael, at you. I don't know why." Evelyn's stomach churned. David's once calm temper had been fraying, but she had ignored the signs, burying her worries beneath the duties of everyday life. Later that day, Evelyn confronted David gently when he returned from work. His face was tight, eyes evasive. "David, we need to talk," she began, voice steady but soft. "The children are scared. I'm scared." He sighed, the tension breaking slightly. "It's the pressure, the layoffs at the workshop. I'm trying to keep things together." Their conversation was a fragile attempt to bridge a gap that was widening faster than either could admit aloud. As the days blurred into weeks, Evelyn started documenting everything. The moods, the silences, the sudden outbursts. She resolved to find help before the shadows swallowed her family whole. Recognizing the spiraling tension at home, Evelyn reached out to her childhood friend, Lisa, a social worker based in Columbus. Over coffee one afternoon, Evelyn broke down the walls she had built around her fears.
"I don't know how much longer I can keep it together," Evelyn admitted, her voice fragile. Lisa listened carefully, then suggested involving a family counselor who specialized in domestic stress and communication. Though hesitant at first, David agreed to attend sessions, seeing it as a possible way to salvage their crumbling family bonds. Their first counseling appointment unearthed years of unspoken strain. David revealed the profound shame and frustration of losing his job, a blow to his identity as the provider. Evelyn expressed the exhaustion of silently carrying emotional burdens. Michael and Clara, encouraged to speak openly, shared their fears and confusion, revealing how much the tension had affected their school lives and friendships. Outside the counselor's office, Evelyn confided in Lisa. "I thought love alone was enough. I didn't realize the damage silence could do." The therapy sessions were neither quick nor easy. Old wounds reopened, emotions ran high, and progress felt painfully slow. But in the small victories, a shared laugh, a tear of understanding, Evelyn found hope stirring. Yet, even as they strived to rebuild, darker challenges loomed just beyond the fragile calm. Just as the family began to find tentative footing through counseling, an unexpected crisis shattered their fragile peace. One rainy evening, Michael came home with a guarded expression. Evelyn immediately sensed something was wrong. Later that night, Michael confessed he had been caught shoplifting at a local store with a group of friends. The shame and fear in his eyes were raw and unfiltered. "I didn't mean to, Mom. I just wanted to fit in," he whispered. "I'm sorry." This revelation hit Evelyn and David hard. The boy they thought they knew was struggling in ways they had barely glimpsed. School pressures, social dynamics, and the stress at home had pushed Michael towards dangerous choices. The family's counselor recommended involving the school's social services and considering a juvenile support program. The legal process that followed was frightening and humiliating. Evelyn found herself navigating court appointments, meetings with probation officers, and difficult conversations with Michael's school. At home, tensions flared anew. David's anger sometimes boiled over, while Evelyn tried to mediate, all the while striving to maintain stability for Clara, who felt increasingly invisible amid the turmoil. One night, alone in her bedroom, Evelyn allowed herself to crumble. Her heart ached not just for her children and husband, but for the family she feared was slipping away. But deep inside, a resilient flame burned, a fierce determination to save the family she loved, no matter the cost. In the weeks that followed Michael's legal troubles, Evelyn reached out to her estranged mother, Gloria, who lived 2 states away in South Carolina. Their relationship had been distant, marked by silence and old wounds, but Evelyn knew that sometimes healing required facing the past. Gloria arrived in Columbus with a suitcase full of old photographs and stories from Evelyn's childhood. At first, the atmosphere was tense, but as days passed, the shared history began to sew fragile threads of connection between them. Gloria's presence brought new dynamics to the household. She offered support with the children, helping Clara navigate her own struggles, and showing David a different way of coping with stress through quiet resilience and patience. With her experience as a retired nurse, Gloria encouraged healthier habits and small daily rituals that slowly diffused household tension. Evelyn started a small community group at the local library for parents facing similar challenges, turning her role as a librarian into a platform for healing and education. This connection fostered a growing sense of solidarity, encouragement, and purpose beyond the walls of their home. Together, the Parker family began to see glimpses of light. While challenges remained, the roots of love, strengthened through vulnerability and support, took hold. promising a future where broken pieces might one day form a new, stronger whole.
With Gloria's steady presence, Evelyn found space to rediscover herself beyond the role of caretaker. She enrolled in evening classes at a community college to finish the degree she had abandoned years ago. This pursuit rekindled a spark of ambition and hope, showing her children that growth was possible, even in hardship. Michael, too, began to change. The court-mandated counseling and probation program introduced him to a mentor, a former convict who had turned his life around. Their conversations opened Michael's eyes to the consequences of his actions and the paths to redemption. Slowly, his grades improved, and he sought to rebuild trust with his family. Clara, inspired by her grandmother's stories and Evelyn's classes, found a voice through writing and art. Evelyn encouraged her by helping submit Clara's work to local youth newsletters and art shows, a small but meaningful step toward confidence. David's journey was the most difficult. He struggled with identity and pride, caught between wanting to support the family and battling his inner demons. A breakthrough came one crisp morning when he joined Evelyn on the porch, admitting his fears and the pain of feeling powerless. That honest conversation opened a path for deeper healing and teamwork. Though the past scars remained, the Parkers began to live with more openness and kindness. They weren't perfect, but they were learning that love, paired with courage and community, could guide them through the darkest nights. Just as the Parker family began settling into their newfound rhythm, an unexpected letter arrived from the City Housing Authority. Their home was scheduled for demolition to make way for a new development. They had only 90 days to find a new place to live. The news hit Evelyn like a tidal wave. After all they had endured, the thought of losing their home felt like starting over from scratch, again. Faced with the reality of homelessness, Evelyn sprang into action. She juggled meetings with housing counselors, scholarships for her classes, and support for her kids' emotional well-being. David took extra carpentry jobs, building small custom pieces to sell, while Michael sought part-time work, determined not to add to their burdens. Neighbors and the parents from Evelyn's community group stepped in, organizing fundraisers and offering spare rooms for short stays. Clara took charge of meals and childcare as Evelyn and David relentlessly pursued a solution. The pressure pushed everyone to their limits, but in those moments of crisis, something remarkable happened. The family's bonds, though bruised and tested, grew unbreakable. The struggle to keep their home sparked an outpouring of love and support from the community they had quietly nurtured. On the final day before eviction, the Parkers moved into a small but welcoming rental house a few blocks away. It was not perfect, but it was theirs. That evening, sitting together on the worn couch, Evelyn whispered, "This house is more than walls. It's us. And wherever we are, we're home." Michael smiled, Clara hugged her grandmother, and David took Evelyn's hand. For the first time in years, the future felt full of possibility. In their new home, life moved forward with cautious optimism. Evelyn's classes flourished, and she began tutoring other adult learners online, turning her passion for education into a modest income stream. Her confidence grew, and she started dreaming about opening a community learning center to offer resources for families like hers. Michael, stepping into young adulthood, started volunteering at a local youth center, using his story to help others avoid the mistakes he made. His once rebellious spirit transformed into a quiet leader, earning respect from peers and adults alike. Clara's artwork gained attention beyond the neighborhood. After submitting pieces to a national youth arts competition, she won a scholarship that helped cover some school expenses, fueling her desire to become an illustrator. David, bolstered by therapy and the family's healing, found a new carpentry job with a sustainable building company. His pride was restored through meaningful work, and he began teaching Michael some of his craft, passing down skills with love. The family traditions evolved. Sunday dinners included Gloria's recipes, laughter, and storytelling. Challenges still arose. arguments, fears, and setbacks, but these moments were met with open communication, respect, and love. Evelyn wrote in her journal, "Our story isn't about the trials we faced, but the strength we found in each other. This is our truth, our love, our family." One afternoon, while organizing old boxes in the attic, Evelyn discovered a set of faded letters tied with a blue ribbon. They were written by her late father, a man she barely remembered, but whose absence had cast a long shadow over her life. Reading the letters, she learned about her father's struggles with depression and addiction, and how he had fought quietly to protect his family. The letters revealed his hopes, regrets, and deep love for Gloria and young Evelyn. This discovery opened a new chapter of understanding within Evelyn, a forgiveness for her father she hadn't realized she needed. Evelyn shared the letters with Gloria, who broke down, grateful that the stories had been found and that healing might reach generations. Inspired by her father's words, Evelyn started a personal project to collect stories of families overcoming hardship, hoping to create a book or documentary that could inspire others. This connection to her past gave Evelyn new strength, grounding her in a legacy of resilience she was determined to pass to her children. Growing up, Michael had struggled to find his place. His early years had been overshadowed by his father's frequent absences and his mother's heavy responsibilities. At school, he often felt invisible or misunderstood, slipping into the wrong crowd searching for acceptance. But as he matured, Michael's perspective shifted. With the steady guidance of mentors and family support, he realized that his mistakes did not define him. He began dedicating himself to academics and community service, dreaming of becoming a social worker to help other kids like him. Clara's childhood had been marked by her sensitivity and imagination. The tension at home sometimes made her retreat into her artwork and writing, creating worlds where love and kindness always won. Though shy, Clara's creativity became her voice. With her grandmother's encouragement, she participated in local contests, building confidence and a sense of identity. Evelyn watched her children's evolution with pride, knowing that the hardships they endured had also shaped their strength and character. This reaffirmed her belief that families, though imperfect, could grow stronger through love, understanding, and courage. As Evelyn's community group gained momentum, she envisioned something greater. A safe space where families could find support, education, and hope. With help from friends, neighbors, and a small grant from the city's social services, Evelyn began transforming a vacant storefront near the library into a vibrant community center. The center offered parenting workshops, tutoring sessions, counseling referrals, and creative outlets for children like Clara. It became a gathering place where stories were shared and healing happened organically. The grand opening was a celebration of resilience. Families from all walks of life came together, bringing food, music, and laughter. Local officials praised the initiative, recognizing Evelyn's leadership. David, Michael, and Clara all played roles. David helping with carpentry improvements, Michael welcoming guests, and Clara displaying her artwork. The day was a milestone not just for Evelyn, but for the entire neighborhood. It symbolized the power of community, the strength that arises when people come together to care for one another. After the excitement of the community center's opening, the Parker family found precious moments to reconnect deeply with one another. Evelyn and David began scheduling weekly date nights at home, quiet dinners without distractions, where they talked honestly about their dreams and fears, rediscovering the love that had first brought them together. Michael, now approaching graduation, faced the bittersweet prospect of leaving home for college. The family gathered for heartfelt conversations about independence and responsibility. Evelyn and David encouraged him to pursue his dreams, but reminded him that family would always be his foundation. Clara, blossoming as an artist, took on a leadership role in the community center's youth programs, confidently mentoring younger children. Evelyn marveled at how her youngest had turned adversity into empowerment. Together they celebrated each small victory, Birthdays, school achievements, quiet afternoons in the park, each moment reinforcing the bonds that had weathered storms. Evelyn journaled, "Our family story is shaped by struggle, but also by unyielding hope, resilience, and an ever-deepening love. We are not perfect, but we are together." Years passed, and the Parker family journeyed through life's seasons, each change met with strength drawn from their shared history. Evelyn completed her degree and opened the Community Learning Center officially, its impact quietly transforming lives. Michael graduated college with honors and returned home, determined to work in social services, inspired by his journey. Clara, now a talented illustrator, published her first children's book, drawing on the themes of hope and family. David, having found stability in his new career, continued mentoring youth in carpentry, passing on skills and life lessons with pride. One late summer evening, the family gathered around a bonfire in their backyard. The air was warm, the sky a blanket of stars. They reminisced about the hard times and celebrated how far they had come, not as perfect individuals, but as a family united by love and resilience. Evelyn looked around at her family, her roots and wings. In that moment, she knew their story was one of hope, strength, and the quiet power of never giving up.